Something was walking the empty hallways. The first sound came at 2:13 in the morning. Not a scream, not a crash, not anything dramatic enough to make a person immediately believe they were in danger. It was just footsteps. Slow. Heavy. Careful. Like someone was walking through the empty hallways of Blackwood Manor, taking their time, knowing there was nowhere for them to go. I remember lying awake in my small room at the end of the eastern corridor, staring at the old wooden ceiling while rain tapped against the windows. The storm had been raging for hours, and the entire house seemed alive with strange noises. The pipes groaned, the wooden floors cracked, and the wind pushed against the walls like something outside wanted to come in. But those footsteps were different. They were inside. At first, I convinced myself it was Mr. Harris, the old caretaker. He was the only other person living in the manor besides me. I had rented the upstairs room from him because I was writing a book about abandoned historical houses, and Blackwood Manor was the perfect place for research. Built in 1894, the mansion had been empty for nearly 20 years before Mr. Harris started taking care of it. The locals called it cursed. They said the family who built it disappeared one night. No bodies. No explanation. Just gone. People in the nearby village avoided talking about Blackwood Manor. Whenever I asked questions, they would change the subject. Some even refused to look at the house. I thought it was just an old village legend. Until that night. The footsteps moved slowly down the hallway. Step. Step. Sat up in bed. Mr. Harris? Steps moved slowly down the hallway. Step. I called. No answer. The footsteps stopped. A cold feeling entered the room. Not the normal cold from the storm. Something else. Something that felt like someone had opened a door to winter. I got out of bed and walked toward my bedroom door. My hand touched the old metal handle. For some reason, I already knew I shouldn't open it. But curiosity is a dangerous thing, especially in places where curiosity is exactly what something is waiting for. I slowly opened the door. The hallway was dark. The old lights flickered above me, creating shadows that moved across the walls. Mr. Harris? Nothing. The hallway stretched ahead, empty. But then I noticed something. The paintings. Every portrait hanging along the hallway was facing slightly downward. I remembered clearly that they were straight. When I went to sleep, I stepped into the hallway. The wooden floor creaked beneath my feet. Then I heard it. A whisper, very soft, almost impossible to hear. Don't. I froze. The voice came from the end of the hallway. Don't come closer. My entire body went still. I stared into the darkness. Who's there? No response. A few seconds passed. Then the footsteps started again. But this time they weren't moving away. They were coming toward me. I couldn't see anything, only hear it. Step. Step. The sound grew louder. My heart was pounding so hard I could barely breathe. I wanted to run back into my room. I wanted to lock the door, but my legs wouldn't move. Then the hallway light above me flickered. For 1 second, I saw something. A figure standing at the other end of the hallway. A tall person, wearing old-fashioned clothes. Their head was lowered. Their body completely still. The light went off, and when it came back, the hallway was empty. I ran I slammed my bedroom door shut and pushed a chair against it. I stayed awake until sunrise. I didn't sleep. I didn't move, and I didn't tell myself it was imagination anymore. Because imagination doesn't leave footprints. The next morning, I found them. Wet footprints starting from the end of the hallway. Leading directly to my bedroom door. I stared at them for a long time. My hands were shaking. The strange thing was, the footprints didn't continue past my door. They ended there. Like whatever had been walking through the footprints didn't walking through the hallway had stopped outside my room. And waited. When Mr. Harris came upstairs, I immediately told him what happened. The old man listened quietly. Too quietly. He didn't laugh. He didn't say I was tired. He just looked at the footprints. His face became pale. You heard them? I looked at him. Heard what? The walking. A strange silence filled the hallway. What is this place? I asked. Mr. Harris looked toward the old staircase. I was hoping you would leave before you found out. That sentence scared me more than anything else, because it meant he knew. He knew something was happening. What walks these halls? I asked. He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he walked to the nearest window and looked outside at the dark forest surrounding the manor. Many years ago, the Blackwood family lived here. They were wealthy, respected, and powerful. But people in the village said something was wrong with them. What kind of wrong? Mr. Harris swallowed. The family believed some houses remembered the people who lived inside them. I frowned. That's a story. Maybe. He looked at me. Or maybe some places remember things humans wish they could forget. I said nothing. He continued. The youngest daughter of the family was named Eleanor. She was 19 years old when the Blackwoods disappeared. What happened to her? No one knows. Then why does everyone say the house is haunted? Mr. Harris looked at the hallway. Because Eleanor never left. I spent the rest of the day searching the manor. I told myself I was investigating. But deep down, I think I was trying to prove I wasn't afraid. The old house contained hundreds of forgotten items, books, letters, photographs, furniture, covered with dust, in the basement. I found a locked wooden box hidden behind broken furniture. Inside was a diary. The cover was damaged, but the name written on the first page was clear. Eleanor Blackwood. My hands became cold as I opened it. The first pages were normal. A young woman's thoughts, her dreams, her complaints about living in such an isolated place. But as I read further, the writing changed. The letters became messier, the words darker. One entry caught my attention. October 17th, 1912. Father says, the house is angry. He says the walls hear us. Mother says he is becoming sick. But I hear it too. Every night. Someone walks in the hallways. Someone who has no face. I stopped reading. The next entry was worse. October 22nd. The footsteps are closer now. They stop outside my room. I asked Father who it is. He said never answer, never speak, never let it know you hear it. My breathing became heavier. The same thing had happened to me. The footsteps. The warning. The voice. I continued. October 31st. Tonight I saw it. It was not a person. It only looked like one. I turned the page. The next page had only one sentence. Something is walking the empty hallways, and it is learning how to become us. I closed the diary. I wanted to leave. Immediately. But the storm returned. Heavy rain covered the roads, and Mr. Harris told me the nearest town was impossible to reach until morning dot, so I stayed. That was my mistake. At midnight, the lights went out. The entire manor fell silent. No wind. No rain. Nothing. Then the footsteps began. Again. This time, they were different. They were not walking down the hallway. They were walking around the house. As if searching. I sat in my room holding a flashlight. The footsteps passed my door. Slowly. Then stopped. Shadow appeared beneath the gap. Someone was standing outside. I didn't breathe. I didn't move. A voice came from the other side. My voice opened the door. My blood turned cold. It sounded exactly like me. Open the door. I stepped backward. The thing outside laughed softly. Not like a person, like something trying to understand how humans laugh. Then it whispered, "I know you are there." I grabbed my phone. No signal. Of course. The shadow under the door disappeared. For a moment, I thought it left. Then my bedroom window opened. Slowly. The curtain moved. I turned. A figure stood outside. Impossible. My room was on the second floor. There was no balcony. No way anyone could stand there. The figure pressed its face against the glass. I couldn't see its features, only darkness. Then it whispered, "Let me in." I ran. I don't remember opening the door. Don't remember reaching the hallway. I only remember running. The hallway seemed longer than before. The walls stretched endlessly. The house was changing. The doors were moving. The paintings were different. And behind me, something was walking, following. I reached the staircase. Mr. Harris was standing there. Waiting. "You saw it," he said. I couldn't speak. "What is it?" His eyes filled with fear. "The house keeps what belongs to it." "What does that mean?" He looked behind me. "It means it needs someone new." The footsteps stopped. Right behind me. Mr. Harris grabbed my arm. "Don't turn around." I felt something standing inches away. A presence. A coldness. A feeling that something was looking at me. Then Mr. Harris whispered, "The Blackwood family didn't disappear." I looked at him. "What?" They became part of the house. The hallway lights flickered. The walls began making strange sounds, like whispers coming from inside them. "The thing walking these halls is not Eleanor." Mr. Harris stared into the darkness behind me. "It's the house itself." I don't know how long I stood there. Seconds. Minutes. Maybe hours. Time felt meaningless inside Blackwood Manor. Then the footsteps moved away. Slowly. Back into the darkness. Mr. Harris grabbed my shoulder. "We need to leave." We ran downstairs. The front door was locked. Not closed. Locked. From the inside. Mr. Harris searched for the key. His hands shook. "It's never done this before." "What do you mean?" He looked at me. "It never tried to keep anyone here before." The lights went out again. From upstairs. We heard footsteps, but this time there were many. Not one person. Many. Walking together. The entire house filled with footsteps. The family, everyone who had ever disappeared. The walls whispered. The floors moved. The old photographs on the walls began falling one by one. Mr. Harris finally found the key. He unlocked the door, but before we could escape, a voice came from the hallway. "Eleanor." Mr. Harris froze. because the voice was his, not mine, his. The footsteps stopped. Then the darkness spoke. "You promised to stay." Mr. Harris closed his eyes. "I know." I looked at him. "What is it talking about?" He didn't answer. The door slowly opened by itself. Cold air entered the room. Mr. Harris pushed me toward the exit. "Go. What about you?" He smiled sadly. I was never the caretaker. The hallway behind him became dark. Completely dark. I was the last person the house kept. Before I could understand, the door slammed shut between us. I heard footsteps. I heard Mr. Harris scream my name. And then, silence. I left Blackwood Manor before sunrise. I never went back. The authorities searched the house later. They found no sign of Mr. Harris. No evidence that he had ever lived there. No records. No documents. Nothing. But they did find something strange. A new portrait hanging in the eastern hallway. A painting of an old man standing beside a young writer. Me. And someone else standing behind us. A tall figure. Watching. I moved away after that. I stopped writing about haunted houses. I stopped searching for answers. Because some places are not haunted. Some places are alive. And some things don't need a reason to exist. They simply wait. Sometimes late at night, when everything is quiet, I still hear it. A sound from the hallway outside my apartment. Slow footsteps. Careful footsteps. Like someone walking through an empty house, searching, learning, waiting, and every time it happens, I remember the words written in Eleanor Blackwood's diary. Something is walking the empty hallways, because now I understand what she meant. The thing in Blackwood Manor was never trapped inside the house. The house was trapped inside it.